Hello and welcome of course to another speed build in Gran Turismo 7, this time for the Porsche Carrera GT. Now I know a lot of you guys don't have this car yet, and I will say this is by no means among the absolute fastest of supercars, so this is an admittedly niched tune, but at the same time, at least it allows you to get good performance out of the car when you do need it. Now as far as the visual stuff, I have not changed the wing, it doesn't have the wide body kit, so all of that's down to you. I would recommend having caution with stuff like rear wings, because in past Gran Turismo games, stuff like the rear wing and especially the diffuser underneath, like a flat floor conversion, does really adversely affect your speed. So if you want to try it with that fitted, you could always take it off after, of course. Now, as far as the tuning shop, I noticed when I went back in, it seems like I might have bought a couple of things that I didn't need, or at least maybe the car already had it or something, multiple levels of suspension in particular, so unless I just had a complete brain fart, just ignore all but the racing suspension, in other words. Now, as far as the first section, of course, you don't need the sports silencer, because we'll get to that in a minute with the racing one. You do want stage 1 weight reduction, of course. Sports hards are already on it, but as I would always say for these, I would recommend having racing tyres if you can. Then for the club sports section, we've got the board-out engine, high lift cams, high compression pistons. There's a suspension which I mentioned, you do not need that. Then for the rest of this, we have a power restrictor. Technically, you don't have to do that, but it's pretty cheap, and I would recommend having it because at least you can then just totally adjust the power on the fly rather than having to remove parts before a race in a lobby. It's just much quicker. The stage 2 weight reduction, of course, I've also got the ballast fitted, again for the option like the power restrictor. You don't have to, I would recommend it though, it's pretty dirt cheap. For the semi-racing stuff, we've got the crank, the fully customizable computer. Of course, you don't need the silencer because we've got the racing one. The turbos, unfortunately, cannot be fitted. Neither can the superchargers on this car. It is purely 810 horsepower of naturally aspirated V10 engine. Again, it has the height adjustable sports suspension for some reason. Maybe these are already fitted, I don't even remember at this point, to be honest. For the diff, we do have the fully customizable one. Transmission, I've skipped on the manual to go for the racing one. Once again, weight loss on this level as well, of course. We have got the balance tuning, the polished ports, the air filter, the silencer. Give it as much power as you can, of course. The exhaust manifold as well. I've gone for the racing brake pads. Technically, you could either go for the carbon ceramic brakes or for the racing brakes. They seem to give you the exact same performance points either way. So if you want to save a little bit of money, you could go for these ones, the racing brakes. If you want to get the ones that you can change the colour on and are just more of a supercar-esque look, then go for the carbon ceramics. That's what I tend to do. As far as the customizable suspension, that is the one in particular which you need. Likewise with the racing clutch and the flywheel. Centre diff obviously doesn't apply, being rear-wheel drive. I've gone for racing softs. That's down to you again. Fully customizable transmission is essential. Of course, stage 4 weight reduction. NOS is always optional. You may as well have it though. As I said, I've gone for the carbon ceramic discs. I've also gone for the hydraulic handbrake. That's more for just getting out of situations more quickly if you need to pull the handbrake and get, a bit more of a responsive slide out of the car, kind of like a drift car. You could go for the steering angle adapter if you wanted to as well, to get more of a steering angle. Obviously, it's in the name. I haven't gone for that, but really that's down to your discretion. So that's it as far as the parts go. As you can see, I haven't really done anything to it visually, even the rims. So like I said, that's really down to your choice. As far as the actual tuning though, if we jump back into my garage for a second, the setup for this particular car, once the game loads, is as follows. So a hair under 780 points. Of course, we've got the softs fitted. For the suspension, we've got the ride height on 90, front and rear. Anti-roll on 10. The dampers as high as they can go all round for both the compression and expansion. I've gone for a frequency of 2.5 and 2.7, as you can see. No camber. I will highlight, I have honed this in especially for Route X, though. So if you do take it on another track like La Sarthe, aka Le Mans, you might want to make a couple of changes there. Likewise with the diff in a second, but that's down to you. As far as the toe, that's neutral as I would usually do. For the diff, I don't think I've actually changed that if I recall correctly. I believe that is still as it comes with the fully customised one, 10, 35, 45. NOS obviously is on, although when I drive it in a second you might not see that. Depends if I run it as a time trial or a race. As far as the gearbox, you want obviously the fully customizable system. Kilometers an hour on 400. Then for the manual adjustment, I've gone for 2.7, 1.8. I actually sat that on 1275, but it changed. As I said before, this game has a tendency of doing that. 950, 748, and 600. I think I might have also set that on 750, not 748. But again, if that's all you can do, then go for it. And if it jumps to these numbers, don't worry too much. And then a final drive of 4.2. So not crazy long gears, but you'll see how it works in a second. Obviously no ballast, ECU on 100%. Downforce is not adjustable stock. And then for the parts, they're all obviously fitted already. So that's it for the tune. Now, of course, we'll take it out to Route X to show you what it can actually do. So as you'll see from this event on Route X, this car, at least with the wind behind you on the second straight, can get up around the 238 region under its own power with no NOS, no slipstream. If you do engage the NOS, you'll notice that I've designed the tune so it uses 5 gears to do that speed on its own, and then 6th gear, which is essential for a car that isn't as quick as others, really does give you a ton of slipstream or draft potential. So you'll see me using the NOS, get it up around 260. Likewise with that drafting, you can get it theoretically, should be over 280 as well, if the slipstream settings are on. So like I said, it's not an ideal choice even of top speed racer, but if you do want to use it, this will at least give you a bit more performance to work with. So ultimately, if you do want to check out other speed tunes, the vast majority of others which I do will be a lot quicker than this. I just wanted to feature it for a car which a lot of people probably wouldn't do a tune on YouTube for. But ultimately, that's it for this setup. Of course, click here on screen to see my other setups in the playlist, and in the Gran Turismo 7 playlist is all of my videos for this game as well. And until then, I'll see you next time. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.